Hi there, my name is Katinka. I'm the seamstress at the Cottage. Welcome back. There have been quite a few new subscribers lately, and I want to welcome each of you. And I thought, for reaching 2,000 subscribers, I will do a Q&A. A lot of you have followed me from the start, but for you who are new, I'm going to tell you my sewing story. I started when I was about 3.5. My mom tells the story of me grabbing a piece of purple gingham fabric, and sewing it together with red cotton and taking it off to them, and then grabbing a doll and putting it on the doll, and it fitted. So my mom and Gran was both seamstresses, and my Gran looked at my mom and apparently said something in the line of, "This child's got potential," and my granny started teaching me. So through the years, I learned a lot. Between my granny making me unpick my doll's clothes and books and everything else that I could lay my hands on, and just persistent sewing whenever I had a chance, working with scraps because there were no finances to buy fabric, up until now where I can actually go out and buy my fabric. I learned how to make wedding dresses. I learned how to make underwear. I made swim costumes and bespoke bras and everything in between. And I loved most of it. But like with everything, I got to a point where sewing was not fun anymore. And so I set off an adventure. Sold my house, packed up my life, and for the last almost a year, I have been traveling. It is unsettling and it's not easy to sew while you travel, but I'm learning to get to know myself again. And that is the important part. I figured out that I still love sewing. I also figured out that I am quite happy at the moment to travel the world. Not really the world, but I have been at a few continents lately. And I'm planning on keep on doing that for at least the next 2 years. I need to find out where I want to be and what I want to do next. And I have given myself grace to have this adventure. And so, for the question asking me, how long will I still be in the US? I'm going to be here for a bit still, and then I'm going to go off for an adventure in South Africa, and then I most likely will come back here for a bit. And after that, I'm not sure yet. Let's see what happens. But I hope you will come along and follow on all these adventures. I'm enjoying it, and I hope you will too. The next question: if you could sew any pattern, one pattern forever, what would it be? That's easy. It would be this pattern. This is a jumpsuit that I designed and drawn up and made maybe 110 versions of. And I can't see myself stopping soon. I am working on a pattern. It takes time. And somewhere in the future, there will be one available if you want to buy it. But if you want to draw up your own, if you go over to my Ko-fi account, I have a detailed instruction of how you can actually make your own pattern and make your own jumpsuit. But if I have to choose a pattern, it would be this one. McCall's 7969. I love the sleeves on this dress. I love the way it fits me. And you can make it into a top, you can make it into a dress, and everything in between. So for me, this is my ultimate pattern. Another question. Can you give me some ideas of what to do when I cut my curtain? Now that has happened to me in the past. And there's basically two options. The first option is to add on to the bottom, like that. And then the secret is, no matter how much you have to add on, as long as it's not more than a quarter of the length of your curtain, you make it double. So you add on the piece, iron the seam flat, and then fold over the rest so it's a hem at the bottom. It gives the curtain a nice drape. And the next thing is, then there's only one line, and it looks like you've decided to make a big hem at the bottom. The option I prefer, especially if it's not a lot, if it's like maybe this much or a bit less, then I add to the top. I will unpick my curtain tape and add to the lining the width, a little bit more than the curtain tape because it won't show. So my first step, unpick your curtain tape. Second step, add to the lining as well as the curtain. And then, instead of folding the curtain part over a lot, you just seam the lining and the curtain. You will basically take the two pieces of fabric, that's your curtain and that's your lining, and you will sew them together at the top, a centimeter away from the edge. Iron it open, the seam, and then fold it over and iron it flat like that. Then you add your curtain tape at the top, and that will give you about this much extra on your curtain. The other option, change the curtains. I've had to do that as well before, but it's not a disaster if that happens. The biggest thing is, are you willing to spend time and fix it? Because some fixes are not quick fixes. Someone asked, is there a sewing machine you recommend for a beginner? I've been wanting to sew my own clothes for a while, but I'm so overwhelmed with choosing a machine to purchase. So, I might not be the right person to ask because I am a Bernina girl. My mom, my gran, and everybody I know have been sewing on Berninas all my life. Reason why I love Bernina is it's a really good make, but they are pricey. Especially here in the US, I've looked into it. I wouldn't even be able to afford a new Bernina over here. So Bernina has a sister company or a little sister called Bernette. This one that I have here, amazing, beautiful, but also they are quite pricey. My Bernina that I sew on is 1008, Bernina 1008. It's an old model, but you can still get them because they are extreme workhorses. Now, I worked as a seamstress, as an alteration specialist, and also a designer making wedding dresses and evening gowns and everything in between. So I needed a workhorse. But as a beginner, I went and I did some research. You can go and get the Bernette, the little baby sister from Bernina, but they are pricey. So there are a few out there, and I just went and looked at their reviews and what's available. And one of the machines that I've actually used a lot of machines before because I used to have a sewing school and the people will bring their machines and work there on their different machines. And one that really stood out for me was Brother. Brother is one that you find easily here in America, and there's some lovely ones out there. One piece of advice I would like to give you, and it might be controversial, don't just go for the cheapest. You sometimes can get really cheap sewing machines, but they're basically made out of plastic. So one of the things you look at when you pick it up, how heavy is it? If it's really light, then most likely you won't be able to do like fix your denims if the seam is too long on that type of machine. You might only be able to work up until medium weight fabric, or quilting would not be something that your machine would be able to handle. So pick it up, feel how heavy it is. If it's really light, go to the next one that feels a bit heavier. Next thing is the Brother Sewing and Quilting Machine XR3774. 37. It's a really nice machine. My friend used to work on it and one of my students as well. And it was actually very nice to work on. Another one is the Brother Sewing Machine XM2701. That's a bit lightweight. Then there is the Singer M1000, and that one is actually not a bad buy. And price-wise, it comes in at the same prices as the other. Of course, for me, there is Yuki. Yuki is one of my dream machines, and there's some beautiful ones out there. TL2010Q is a very nice one. You also get the Brother CS7000X. This is very good if you want to do start like dipping your toes in embroidery, because it's got very nice embroidery features. And because of that, it's got enough space between here and there for things to come through. I think it's a little bit wider than this one. So if you want to actually dabble in embroidery, that might be a very good one to look at. I would actually like to hear from the rest of you who's watching this. What type of machine do you use? And are you happy with it? And are there things that irritate you or that you would have liked it to change? Because I'm really interested. What are you guys sewing on? What type of machines? And then there's the last one, a really big workhorse, but it's only straight stitching, and that's basically an industrial machine. So if you want to make things for markets or sell online in a big amount, then this Yuki TI2010Q might be a good one. But like I said, it's a straight stitch. You don't have zigzag or anything else. But if you need something that's really good at straight stitching, then that is the one. So that is the machines that I can advise you. And also go and look on eBay. Sometimes you find really nice machines there. I would also advise Elna now is not that great, but if you can get Elnas that's older than if it was made before 1980, let's say 1986, then they're really, really good. I've got a few in my stash that I use as backup machines, and they are amazing. And what I also love about those, they are made to last, and they're easy to service because they're mechanical. So sometimes the electronic machines, they're beautiful, they work like a dream, like this one. But if something goes wrong, you're looking at big bucks to fix it. Another thing that I would advise is find out who's the service technicians in your area, find out what they charge, and then maybe buy a machine that is affordable to service. Because a thing that we forget is your machine needs to be looked after like your car. I work a lot on my machine, so I try and service them once a year. But if you don't work that much, just make sure you follow the book instructions, keep them oiled, keep them clean. Very important, keep them clean, and your machine should last you for a long time. I hope that helps, and that you will go out and find a brilliant machine, and please start sewing. It is really so much fun, and there's amazing, easy patterns out there that you can make, and it's such a sense of accomplishment when you've made something and you can put it on, or you can use it the bag, or you can hang your towels and your dishcloths. Don't be afraid to start. And if you have any questions, you can ask me. I'll try and answer. Then let's look at the next question. I would like to know, how can I make patterns from clothes I love? That is such an important question. We all have those items in our wardrobe. Now, some items are quite intricate, and I had to basically unpick them to find the pattern. But mostly you are able to trace from your basic items. So I went and I looked at, should I make a video to do it? But I found some really good resources online, and I am all for not reinventing the wheel. So I'm going to tell you about these resources. There's one girl I follow. She's young, but she studied fashion design, and she's got her own line of eco-friendly clothing. Natalia Tevino. Sorry, I'm butchering the name. I will put a link. And she's got a video called Fashion Design 101: How to Trace Your Clothes. Then with Wendy, she has been around forever, and she's got one video which is really good actually, which I think she did it like when she started. And it says how to make patterns from your clothes. I'll link that one. And then another one, and she's really meticulous, this girl, Rosary Apparel. She also makes lovely patterns. How to clone a dress. So if you go and you look at that, and if you just go and you look at a few, just Google clone my clothes, you will find some amazing videos out there. What I do is, if this is my t-shirt, I will fold it in half. No, let's do it like this. If this is my t-shirt, I will fold it in half, because you only need half a pattern. Then I will put it down on the paper like this. And then I will draw around it, fold the sleeve in, so completely in, and then put pins where the front part is. And then those pins will make holes in the pattern or in the paper, and then you can draw a line on that part. Then you will take that same t-shirt and you will put the back down in the same way that I've just explained. And then you will put pins for the back line, because usually your front is more forward than your back, because your back needs way to move. So that's one way. Another way, what I would do is look at patterns that's available that's similar to the thing that you like, and then take that pattern and just fiddle with it until it fits. I know it sounds very vague, but I'm not really an expert in that. I just draw up my own patterns, and I do make copies for other people sometimes if they have a dress that they've been wearing for 30 years. But I do it intuitively, so I can't really give you clear explanation of how to do that. Maybe if I sit down and I write the steps, but I really don't have time at the moment. So go and look at those videos that I'm linking down below. They're all really good resources. All of their channels actually give you really good information on sewing. Oh, there's another one, Stein. She speaks about how to make the patterns to fit you. I'll link her as well. And I also put a link for her name up here. She is really, really good. I actually subscribe to her channel, and whenever and she also has a Fab Fit, I think it's called Fab Fit Friday, where she have kind of like a live and she talks through things and people can ask questions. She's really a good resource if you want to learn more about patterns and pattern fitting and adjusting for your body. I love her work. So the last almost 3 years have been a lot of fun. And I want to thank each of you who decided to join me on this adventure. To tell you the truth, I started this channel without advertising it or telling anybody except my sister. And I was amazed when people started watching because my other channel has been around forever and a day and it never really took off. So I really thought that I would just post sewing videos because I love sewing and I wanted to remember why. And that's why I started filming it. And I didn't think anyone would watch. And so here I am, almost just under 3 years later, and 2,000 of you have joined me and watched all my adventures and all my shenanigans. And I want to thank you for that. I hope you will stick around for another 3.5 years because I'm not planning on going anywhere. And at the moment, I'm actually working on quite a few videos that will come up in the next while. I always have footage that needs to be edited because sometimes my editing skills lack. Maybe one day I will be able to afford to pay an editor, but until then, you will have to wait until I finish between sewing things and making videos. I hope you enjoyed this little Q&A and that you've learned something and that I will see you in the next video. If this is your first one, please like and subscribe. And if you're a recurring viewer, thank you so much. Goodbye.